Hey guys and girls, you know, I've been getting a few comments lately about a Tokyo rig, wanting me to talk about a Tokyo rig, and so I thought I might just do that. You know, let's kind of cover the what, when, where, how to fish a Tokyo rig, what to fish it on, and all that nonsense. So a Tokyo rig, for those of you that don't know, is kind of a generational thing. It kind of started back with a drop shot, and a drop shot was where we simply had a hook up above, a weight down on the bottom. And we've now got it where the drop shocks are on little deals where it'll spin, not twist your line, but where you're fishing a piece of plastic off the bottom. When we started fishing those kind of baits, we were fishing them simply straight up and down. In other words, it was a technique where we would come up on a spinning rod, we'd drop it right straight down, and we'd drop it down at the bottom, and then we'd shake it and let that worm bounce around on loose line. We finally got to pitching them out. We got to doing a lot of different things with them, fishing in a lot of different ways. After that, a J-rig come along, and I guess that some people call this a Jika rig. A J-rig came along, and a J-rig simply had, let me lay that rod and reel down. I don't have a bait on there, so it's not going to get jerked out of the boat. A J-rig simply had a long weight on a little piece of split ring that was welded to that hook, and that produced a weight that was down on the bottom. So your weight was on the bottom, and your bait was a little bit above it. You can see this is titanium. And if you're going to use a J-rig or a Jika rig, I recommend titanium as opposed to just regular lead. You can use both. It works fine. It seemed like I like the titanium a little bit more. They're like twice as expensive, obviously, but I like the titanium a little bit more. And that is a J-rig, or what some people are calling a Jika rig. You can see it's got line tied to it. I've been using that exact hook right there. And then from there, we've gone to the Tokyo rig. And this is just a straight VMC Tokyo rig right here that I've got tied on. And this is what it is. And those of you that have been involved in fishing very much, you're pretty well familiar with it. But a Tokyo rig is a little bit of a drop shot and a little bit of a J-rig, but it's kind of expanding it out by this weight being on a piece of wire down here. And you see what's happened right here? Where are we going? We're blowing away. Get this thing set here. We're blowing away. Let's just see if we can't spot lock that thing down. Keep our sun about right. But you got a swivel up here, which keeps everything from twisting. You got a little piece of wire down here. This is like spinnerbait wires, all that is, just spinnerbait wire. A little short piece that's a couple inches long. You buy this rig just like this. It's a VMC. They're pretty expensive, like, I don't know, $6 or $7 for two of them. And you've got a really good hook on there. Now, the weights does not come on it. This is just a straight line piece of wire down here. And what I've taken now, you know, they show you on the back of the package that you put a slip sinker on here and you point it downward, because this is made to fall down through stuff. And so it's going to fall just like this. So it's going to fall down, just straight down, just like that. Now, what I've done and what I really recommend is what type of slip sinker you want to use. Like I've got a couple of 3/16 ounce slip sinkers on here. So I've got, you know, almost a half ounce, 7/16 is what I've really got. So I've got almost, well, 3/16 would be, it'd be 6/8, so I got about 3/4 on there, yeah. Those may not be quite that big. They may be, that's probably 3/16. 3/16 would be, I don't know, don't worry about that kind of nonsense. But anyway, I got two weights on here. Now, you're going to have to put two weights on. You want to face one up and one down. Now, one of the reasons we use two weights is, well, I'm going to be fishing in grass. If you're fishing in grass, you want that bait to fall straight down through the grass with a sharp head up here on the top. So it goes down through the grass. So when it goes back up, you've got your pointed end of your slip sinker, your Texas rig slip sinker up there. So you can go both ways. Also, these will clack together. Now, another little secret that I like to do in here is to put a little disc in between it, those little copper-looking disc in between it, where they can bang onto it, make a little bit more of a clacking noise as you throw it and as you shake it and you move it around, make a little bit of a crawdad type noise down there. And that's what your rig looks like that then. So that's the what of it. Where are you going to fish it? Well, let me tell you, fish it basically anywhere you fish a jig or a Texas rig slip sinker. Anywhere you do that. As a matter of fact, you can fish it anywhere you fish a mushroom head jig, anywhere you fish a Carolina rig. You can fish it basically anywhere. One of the big advantages is the weight on the bottom and the hook up above it. Now, you might ask, can I make that wire longer? Absolutely. Now, I don't know that you can buy any like that. You're going to have to make your own, but you can actually go to Amazon or somewhere and order these. These are spinnerbait wires is all they are. Order them. They've got a ring on the top of them up here, and they'll make them like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches long. So you can have a 5-inch wire down here. And sometimes, particularly if you're fishing in a lot of grass early in the year when the grass is just barely growing off the bottom, sometimes that longer wire can really, really help you. I like the longer wire a little bit myself. But now, the one advantage of using this kind of rig, of course, the big advantage is your bait is just swinging free. It doesn't have anything encumbering it. It's almost like fishing without a weight at all, except you do have a weight. When the fish grab a hold of it, you don't have that slip sinker in their mouth. You know, when you're fishing with a Texas rig, your slip sinker, if you got lead, it gets all scratched up. And if it gets all scratched up, that means that they've got the whole bait in their mouth. And so when you're setting the hook, you're pulling that into their teeth, and it's scratching up the head of that. That one right there is actually scratched up. Also, you can see that little slip sinker there is already scratched up. And when they grab a hold of this, they don't have that in their mouth, so you get much, much better hook sets. You generally have it a little bit deeper down in their mouth. You usually hook them in the top of the head. So those are some of the real advantages of using this type of rig right here. Another big advantage is, like I'd think about, fishing for bedfish. If you're fishing for bedfish, where you throw this out there and you got this down on the bed, you got this up above, you can throw it up there, shake it, shake it, shake it, and you're shaking the line, you're shaking this, it's moving around, your weight's laying on the bottom. Now, one of the problems that everyone has had with tungsten, and I just basically have not used tungsten except something like on the J-rig, because of the fact that tungsten is so slick, it's kind of like putting that stuff on your pans. I don't know what you spray Pam on there or something to make it slick where nothing will stick on it. Those titanium or tungsten weights are so slick that if they're inside a fish's mouth and you set the hook, a lot of times they get up there and they just slide right out. And it comes out and you know, you don't catch the fish. You miss a lot of fish. This, you can use tungsten on this and you won't have that problem. If you're using real heavy weights, now a lot of people call these punch rigs also because they use them to put heavy weights down here on the wire and punch through real heavy stuff. But now those are some of the reasons. As I fish along here, I'm gonna fish a little bit and see if we can catch one or two on it. I think we probably can. I use a lot of different types of worms. It really doesn't matter whatever your favorite type worm to use. Probably the most used worm on a Tokyo rig right now is some sort of a creature bait. This is one of my favorites right there. It's called a ringmaster. It's a Lucky Strike bait, and you can see it's just got lots of stuff on it, lots of tails, lots of wiggle, lots of action, lots of movement. And when I rig this, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to come right up to the top. I'm going to rig this just pure Texas style, except we're rigging it on a Tokyo rig. Come down through there, take the bend of that hook, come and turn it all the way around. Now I've got that right up at the top of it. I'm gonna come back here, find out right exactly where my hook will go in, scrunch it up a little bit, stick all the way through there. Now I've got it all the way through. I'll come up and simply just right in the center of it, skin hook that hook right in the dead center of it. Now, that's what I'm looking like here. That's what I'm gonna fish with. When it goes straight down in the grass, it's gonna go straight down like that. When I pick it up, it's going to come up, and this is going to move around, drag that across the bottom, and that's going to be off the bottom. We'll see what will happen in it. I pitch it, I flip it, I cast it, I do everything with it that I do with any other worm. That's the main thing you're thinking about. It's just a different way to rig a worm. It's not necessarily a different technique as far as how you fish it. It's just a different worm. Now, you can fish it a lot differently because of the fact that you got that weight laying on the bottom. You might want to do a little bit more shaking with your rod tip than you normally do. But I shake a worm around a lot anyway. About the only worm you don't really want to shake a lot with is like a pow stick. If you're fishing a worm without a hook on it, where you're just throwing it out there and just letting it sink down to the bottom, don't want to do a whole lot of shaking and moving that thing around. You just want to let it sink. It's not really a swim-o. But on this, you can shake that rod tip around. Now, I like to use these in grass. The place where I'd always had the most success on a J-rig was in grass. It seemed like if I got around in the grass, where I could get that thing down in the grass and let that weight bang around on the grass with the worm right up above it, it seemed like that's when I had the best success at that. And I'm in grass. You can see I'm on a locator right now. I've got a lot of grass, lots of grass, and a lot of grass right there. Most of the time when you're in the grass, you're going to actually be, your weight's going to be in the grass and your bait will be up above it. And since you've got that slip sinker pointing both directions, you're not very apt to get your hook hung up in that grass. It's usually going to be the weight that's hitting in there, making noise. Now I got two weights that can clack together there, so it's a real good situation on that. It's good for vertically jigging. It's good for flipping. You know, flipping, pitching, vertically jigging, just about anything you want to do. This Tokyo rig is kind of a new hot dog way to catch fish, and seemingly you miss less fish, seemingly you lose less fish, and seemingly you get more bites. One of the things that makes it kind of what it is, gang, is that it's something a little different than they've seen. The same type baits that they've been seeing before, but they're seeing them in a little bit different type presentation. And that's always good when they see things a little bit different that they haven't been looking at every day, particularly on a lot of these high-pressured lakes. We fish so many lakes nowadays that really give a lot of tournaments on it, a lot of fishing, a lot of people out there. And if we can do something a little bit different, one of the reasons changing colors works so well, you know, is you can find a color that's just a little different that they haven't seen before. Sometimes that'll get bites when nothing will. We're making that worm look a little bit differently, that creature bait look a little bit differently than it normally looks on any other type rig. And sometimes it'll produce more bites because of that. I wouldn't hesitate to use this in whatever way you want to fish. Obviously as a punch bait, and that's sort of, you know, what it was designed for, I think, is to put heavy sinkers on that wire and punch down through stuff where you had a pointed in on one end, a pointed in on the other end. You know, my guess is they'll probably start making slip sinkers that way. No reason to do it, just use 2 slip sinkers. No reason to make special ones. Just take 2 slip sinkers, turn one direction, one the other direction. Now I'm fishing in a lot of grass, and if you'll notice that I've made a lot of throws and I've not had a single piece of grass get on that bait. And I've got it down in the grass. I mean, I'm getting it down in the grass on the bottom, letting those weights carry that thing down there. Getting down there pretty quick too. I'm not even sure what size slip sinkers those are. That's one thing you better think about though. If you're normally going to use, say, a 3/8 or a 1/2 ounce slip sinker, you're going to put 2 of them on there, you got to put them on there half as big. This is one place where tungsten can really be a big advantage. I've not been a big fan of tungsten because once it came out, I loved it because it was those small slip sinkers, but then I started missing so many fish on it. So many fish would I miss on that tungsten, and so I finally figured out why I was missing those fish, and it's kind of like, that word I was looking for is Teflon. It's kind of like having Teflon. Oh, it's kind of like having Teflon inside a fish's mouth. That's a good way right there, yeah. And that's a Tokyo rig bass right there. Now let's see how he's hooked. My bet is he's going to be hooked really, really good because you don't have that weight to worry about. He's hooked really, really good. In fact, he's got it way down there. Got a little further than I really want him to have it, as a matter of fact. He's got it a little deeper than I want him to have it, as a matter of fact. Come out of there, baby doll. That's a good little chunk right there. Good summertime bass, not anything wrong with that fish. Now, he hit that thing right down in the grass and really kind of messed me up here a little bit. I'm going to kind of re-rig just a little bit. I'm going to take this creature and I'm going to turn it over, come through the other side. That's one of the things you can do with a piece of plastic is if one side messes up, turn your plastic around, fish the other side. Now this rig's got a swivel on it, so it's not going to twist. Come back through. It's not going to twist your line. Come back and got it. Missed him, and come back and got it. Little guy. The one that missed it. The one that missed it was a 3-pounder. The one that got it was a 1-pounder. A 1-pounder. Well, he is really hooked though. Just like I was saying, being how hard to get hooked, and really got hooked. Come here, baby. Ooh, what do we got here, Jimmy? Oh, what do we have here? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. Looky there. Look how he's hooked, right in the top of the head. I mean, right in the top of the head. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. The fish is kind of skinny. Oh, yeah. You look at that big old fish. Now that, sports fans, is a big old fish. A little bit skinny, but a big old fish. Tokyo rig. If you haven't tried them, try them. You can make your own. Pretty easy to make your own. Just keep in mind that you can do just about anything with this rig. Take my little ringmaster bait. Got 3 nice fish on that bait. You can make your own rigs. Buy that spinnerbait wire with that little ring on the end of it. Build your own baits really easy. You can use all different kinds of hooks on there. This is one right out of the package. It's one just exactly like what I gave away the other day in the video that we did over at Bass Pro Shop when I stopped at Bass Pro and bought a few items for myself and a few items for my friends. Bought my buddy Daniel Arms some trailer hooks for his frog because he's missing too many on a frog. Try that bait, guys and girls, and I guarantee you're going to have some fun catching fish on it. If you look at this, the bass have bent that wire up a little bit. It makes no difference whatsoever. Personally, I think that a longer wire, as this thing is fished with more and more over the years, I think a longer wire is going to become a little bit more popular bait. So go ahead and buy you some wires, make you up a few. Next time you go out there, try this anywhere you use a Texas rig, anywhere you use a jig. I think you'll really be amazed at the results. Something different, something the fish haven't seen before in a lot of the areas that you might be fishing. Hey guys and girls, if you like this video, share it with a few of your friends. If you're not subscribed to Jimmy Houston Outdoors YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, give us a thumbs up. Don't ever miss a single video. Later, guys and girls.